All right, everybody. Welcome to the Ridgeline Hunting Podcast, brought to you by Phelps Game Calls. Professional grade game calls made for every hunter. Now, today I am doing the podcast from camp. Yeah, that's right. Well, right now it's from my truck. I'm actually headed out, but I'm in the woods, so I have the portable podcaster right now, and I am hunting solo, so I am only your host today. I'm David Crane, so I am your host. I don't have any co-hosts, don't have any guests. It's just me, and I'm going to talk about my solo bear hunt, or walkabout, because that's pretty much all I did. So sorry, yes, no bears, but I did have a good time. So I did want to talk about that. But first, before I get into the hunt, if you are following along on the Instagram, which is at the Ridgeline Hunting Instagram, and also the Ridgeline Hunting Podcast Instagram, you will see that we are giving away on this podcast right now the Phelps Easy Sucker. It's their brand new cow call. It's extremely easy to use. If you have any kids that are getting into elk hunting, or you just can't use a diaphragm properly, this is exactly what you need. Also, if you're also looking at other products that Phelps has, they have the Easy Estrus. That's another one that you don't have to use a diaphragm for. Super easy. The Easy Sucker does actually have like a mini diaphragm, but it goes like inside their little product there. But it is super easy to use, and that is the Phelps Easy Sucker. We are giving one away. I believe the giveaway, we'll have it last 1 week. All you have to do is look for the Instagram post on either Ridgeline Hunting Instagram or the Ridgeline Hunting Podcast Instagram, and your keyword is going to be sucker what? That's right. Sucker what? So, use S-U-K apostrophe R. So I'm giving you how to win. And what? And you can do what however you want. But yeah, the keyword is sucker what? So when you see the giveaway picture, I'll have a picture of the Easy Sucker, and it will say giveaway. All you have to do is post that key phrase and tag 2 people. That's it, and you're entered. Super simple. Super simple, and you're going to win a Phelps Easy Sucker call just like that. So, yeah, and that will be episode 19. So, hopefully you guys will be listening to that, so you're entered to win once you post on the Instagram page. And there's 2. So there's the Ridgeline Hunting Instagram and the Ridgeline Hunting Podcast. Super simple to find. Super easy to win. So let's get into day 1 of the hunt. So I left town on Friday. I got into the mountains super late Friday night. And basically I just set up camp right outside my truck. And then I got up Saturday morning. I was up about 4, got everything ready, ate a little snack, and started busting into the woods. There's a couple areas that I had marked on my maps that I wanted to go and check out. So the first one was fairly high, so I started trekking in, and I get 2 or 3 miles before I wanted to hit my destination. And I run into nothing but cattle. So I've ran into cattle out here before. There's a couple people that free range their cows up in this area. Not a big deal when there's only a couple of them. But I was running into like pockets of like 8 to 10 in like a mile stretch. And then finally I got to an area where there was about 30 or 40 of them, and they're like all on either side of this old road that I'm going up. So I've had these cattle charge me before, and I wasn't messing around with that. So I was like, dang it, you know what? I'm not going to hit this spot right now. I'll go back down where I've seen some bear sign before, go and check that out. And in the meantime, I have camp on my back. So I didn't actually weigh my pack this time, but I had my rifle in there, and that thing's not light. And I had gotten water before I made my trek up. I hit a creek and got some water, and I'm charging in. So now I'm making a 3-mile hike back, basically like where the creek is, and then getting more water, and then heading back to another spot. So I'm heading into this other spot, and I start seeing some bear sign, and very minimal, and I'm talking 1 to 2 like fresh scat, and I've noticed that it's just all grass. And I also noticed that the berries are not in yet. So, our previous guests back in the past, if you want to listen to the episode, Douglas Bowes talking about, hunting bears, you got to find the food to find the bears. So I was having a hard time finding the food. But I noticed there was like a little stream that was kind of going right next to where I was at, and there was like fresh grass shoots. So I'm like, all right, well, that's bear food. I also start looking around, and there are limited berries. Some are ripe, but most of them are not. I would say probably another week or two, and the whole hillside's going to be covered in berries, which is going to be good, but not good for me right now. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to post up on the side of this hill and just hang out. So my rifle's in my bag, and I'm just hanging out on this stump, and I go and I grab my call, and I have a Phelps Fawn Jack call. And I was like, you know what, I'll hit this thing a couple times and just see what happens. And, in my mind, I'm like, I'll take off my bag, get my rifle out, and get ready, and just, going through the motions all slow and stuff. So I'm calling, and I just, do like 45 seconds of this call, maybe a minute. And all of a sudden I start hearing something behind me, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And in my mind, Douglas Bose is always saying, when you're doing a setup, if you start calling, make sure you're ready to shoot. And that was playing in my head as I'm like taking off my bag and getting my rifle out, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's freaking happening right now. Well, I turn around, and before that, I start to hear something kind of, coming up, and I am surrounded by chipmunks, ground squirrels, and just birds just all over the place. So they're always making just lots of noise anyways. And I'm like, whatever. So I start to turn around, and there's a coyote bit bopping around, coming over the hill, coming like straight for me. And what I mean by bit bopping is, if you ever seen like a coyote even just jog or whatever, they kind of like bob up and down. So it's bit bopping for me. So it came up and over the hill, and I'm like, oh crap, it's a coyote. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna blast it. And so I take off the bag. I'm using my XO like K2 3500 as a like rifle stand. As like, just so I put the rifle on my bag, and I'm waiting, and it's still just trotting down towards me, and it stops, and it's looking like right at me, and I'm like, what the heck is this thing doing? And all of a sudden it just sits down, and I was like, well, big mistake, buddy. Boom! Take the shot, blow it. I pretty much blow this coyote in half. It's a fairly small coyote. As I go up to it and walk up to it, it is pretty much blown in half. It's just together by fur. If you want to see the photos, they're on the Instagram page. And yeah, so that was probably right around 8:30, 8:45, something like that. I take my pictures with the coyote and keep it pushing. So I was like, well, I got to get off this hillside. I just, fired this massive shot. So the 308 at 8:45, it was awesome. So I get up and I'm like, there's got to be some bears cruising some hillsides or something. I'll call if it's like a last resort. I really want to spot a bear with my binos and make a push on a bear. If you all don't know, this is my first like bear tag if I feel one. So if I feel my tag will be the first bear I've ever tagged out on. So I've been hunting bear now for 6 or 7 years, and I've had opportunities on 2, but it just didn't happen. One time during the spring, and then one time I was out elk hunting. It didn't work out for me. Didn't fill my tag. So I've been hunting my butt off to try to fill a freaking bear tag, and I have not had any luck even just spotting bears. I would be happy if I had an opportunity to actually shoot, and if I miss. I mean, that's on me, but I haven't even had an opportunity to even see bears. And it's not like I'm not giving it any effort. I mean, so yesterday I hunted, so yesterday was Saturday, so I hunted, I don't know, from dark to dark. Long time. Nothing. I did shoot a coyote, though. That was pretty cool. So last night I did a little sit, watching the hillside, calling. I started calling down into a creek bottom. Nothing came up. No coyotes. No nothing. Also, I haven't seen any deer or elk. This was probably the first weekend I've gone out into this area and haven't seen elk. Usually, I can get on, a few hundred elk, and I'm not bullshitting. There's a lot of elk out in this area. I didn't hear any calls during the night or in the morning. That is a first for me. Did not see any mule deer. That is another first for me. Even if it was a doe or anything, I didn't see anything. So this area was not touched by a massive fire that we had last year. I went out bear hunting dang near the same weekend last year, and there was like a fire like the next ridge over, and I had to pack up and head out. It sucked, but you never know what's going to happen, It can come right up over the ridge while you're sleeping, and all of a sudden you're a cooked burrito inside your sleeping bag. But this area was not hit at all. It's flourishing. There's berries and all this other stuff everywhere once they come in, so I'm hoping that I can come in when the berries are nice and plump and I start seeing some bears. But for this weekend, it was not the case. So Saturday night was pretty good because I had cell service, so I was able to call my wife. Yesterday was our 17-year wedding anniversary, so August 6th. You guys will probably hear this on Monday, which will be, the 8th on Monday? But yeah, so August 6th was our 17-year wedding anniversary, and it was pretty cool because I was able to call her during sunup and show her some pictures, and she was out on the beach in Florida and showing me some pictures. She's over in Florida taking care of her sister who's dealing with cancer right now, but supposedly they got some good news, and it seems like the cancer's going away, so they're going to be seeing if there's a couple more studies that they can do to make sure that is the case and she doesn't have to go through this next treatment, which would be fantastic because the treatment that she is getting ready to do can possibly kill her. So, anybody out there, please, show your support. Prayers are welcomed. So Amy, we're thinking about you. But Saturday night, I actually got my phone out. Hulu worked, so I watched the movie Prey, which is a Predator movie. Just came out. It's freaking sweet. I liked it. But woke up Sunday morning at 5:30. Packed everything up, got it back in my pack, and started headed out again, looking to see if I can see any bears cruising around down in the creek bottoms. In some nice shaded areas. There's a couple meadows that I was looking at. It's all dried up. There's nothing growing around in there. But I did find a whole huge hillside full of wild blackberries, which are not ripe yet. But here next week, I will be out with Mike Peterson. So him and I are going to head out, and that will actually be taking the podcast unit into the woods with us. My son was supposed to go with me this weekend, and also Sandana was supposed to go. Sandana got sick, and my son has been putting in some hard work with football, so he was just whooped. He didn't want to come out this weekend, so that's why I was out solo. And even with the small podcasting unit, everything is still super heavy. So, I mean, the handheld podcaster unit is not heavy at all. It's super lightweight, but the mic, and like if I brought the mic stand, that's not light at all. So I put it on my pack before I left my truck on Friday, and I was just like, yeah, this ain't I gotta lighten up some weight. So went through my pack again, repacked everything, took the podcast stuff out, and I was just like, I'll just do a podcast when I get to the truck and cool down before I head home. So the podcasting unit did not make it to camp, but hopefully next weekend Mike and I will take the podcasting unit with us, and we'll do a podcast from inside our shelters. So that'll be fun. So next weekend, might hear the same podcast, us bear hunting, but it'll be more than one person, which will be fantastic, because it's always nice to have another person to, sit with you and talk and figure out what went wrong or what you did right and blah, blah, blah. This one, I just was not seeing any bears, and it stinks. But I had to get this podcast out because we are doing a giveaway. So if you didn't hear it in the beginning, the giveaway is for a Phillips Easy Sucker. This product just came out probably about a month ago, and we are giving one away for free. That's right. I actually ordered one for myself, and I said, you know what? I think our listeners are going to want to get in on this action. I'm going to order 2 of them, and I'm going to give one away for free. So, you guys are lucky. I'm basically giving you one of these for free. So, very easy. Go to the Instagram page. It'll be a picture of the Easy Sucker on there, and it'll say giveaway. And your keyword is sucker what? That's right. So it's SUK''R, sucker what? And so we're going to be giving that away, and that'll be awesome. We really do like Phelps, and we do support our local businesses, and Phelps is right here out of Washington State, so that is awesome. But yeah, no bears for old Crane, man. Nothing. At least in bear wise. I did end up going out Sunday, that is today, and right around 8:30 I did a sit down again, and boom, another coyote. This guy came in really, really fast. He came up to about 20 yards, stopped, and right as I was getting ready to pull the trigger, he boogied. And I was just like, oh, dang. And this coyote was super close. You will be able to see. I did video it with my cell phone. That will be up on the Instagram as well. But after that, the heat kicked in, and it was, almost 90 as I was packing my way out. So I had to stop at the creek, cool down, get some water, get my feet wet, and then make my trek back to the truck and do this podcast for you guys. So this will actually end the podcast for today. Very short podcast, but I just wanted to let everybody know, what I was up to this weekend, and that we have the giveaway look for that on the Instagram page. So there's 2 Instagram pages you can go to be entered. Ridgeline Hunting, and then the Ridgeline Hunting Podcast on Instagram. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Hopefully here soon, someone in our party will have a bear down. Either myself, Mike, or David Sandana. We are hunting hard, and we're going after it. And I want everybody to be safe when you're out in the hunting woods. And, just be grateful for what you have and what you're able to do. So thank you for listening. You can hear us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, and also on the YouTube page, which is Ridgeline Hunting, and that is on YouTube. So thank you, everybody. Have a good one.